The Handmaid's Tale Season 5 Episode 8 Ending Explained. Well, Motherland it is. With the Motherland being at the core of the episode in the sense that June toyed with the idea of returning to her motherland, Serena returning back to Gilead, along with Commander Lawrence, the architect, creating another land for people to inhabit. The sense of belonging and a destination was fundamental to this episode, along with the continual mirrored behaviors from Serena and June. So with that, I thought I'd recap, break down, and explain all that there was to take away from this episode. So let's get into it. Here is the Handmaid's Tale Season 5 Episode 8 Ending Explained. Just to let you know, this video will contain spoilers. Following on from Episode 7, where we saw Serena give birth to Noah but end up being detained by the immigration officers, we saw that Serena was now inside of the detention center and Noah was being cared for by the Wheelers. However, they were treating him in a way that was quite harsh considering he was only 1 month old. This was key to the episode as well, as it showed us that 1 month had passed since the previous episode. Episode 8 started and ended with Hannah in some form, a flashback to the past with June blocking out all noise around her, and it finished with Hannah inside the wife's school where she was looking up to the sky referencing the freedom that could be soon to come. This was due to Twello finding the location where Hannah was being housed and a plan now in motion being devised in order to rescue her from Gilead and reunite her with her mother June. However, what does that mean for June and New Bethlehem? Well, I'm going to break this video down by the main character arcs that we saw in the show. June. The June we had in this week's episode was very different to the one that we saw in episode 6 and 7. In those two episodes, it was more about a fight for survival and also turning the other cheek, whereas in episode 8 we saw June go back to her true purpose, and that was in finding Hannah and showing us the importance that she held in her heart and that she basically can't go on without her. We saw June poised with two different options on what she could do in order to get her daughter back. She could go with Commander Lawrence and join the settlement that he'd created called New Bethlehem, and she'd be able to visit her daughter whenever she pleased. Or she could hold out for Twello to work with the evidence that was on the USB stick that she was given by Jaden. I felt a lot of this week's episode was inside of June's head, but it was being expressed outwards. The extreme emotions, the lashing out on Luke, and the irrational decisions of saying that she was going to go back to Gilead without even giving it a proper thought, all felt rather extreme. The only time she felt like she was her true self was when she visited Serena in the detention center. She had a calm demeanor, and although the reconciliation that occurred in the previous episode in the barn was true, it didn't mean that a friendship was forged. June simply took the words of the Bible and implemented them. She turned the other cheek. She was no longer filled with rage and vengeance towards Serena, but instead she accepted that what she had done to her in the past was wrong, but she couldn't hold on to it if she wanted to focus on herself and her future. So much so that she gave Serena advice. At this moment, they were genuinely mirroring each other's behaviors. Serena is no more than a handmaid now, just like June was, and just like June, she's now in search for her child, so it's clear to see how the tables have now turned. June's feelings of a lack of hope and wanting to do something about finding her daughter are clear and are always at the core of any decision that she makes. So with Mark phoning her and telling her that they're going to be able to get Hannah back, it's going to be interesting to see how she responds moving forward. I feel she'll now be at the other end of the chart now. She's been extremely sad but snappy and rash, but I feel now she'll become energized and impatient. Her relationship with Commander Lawrence is something that I think is quite pure. He's open with her and she's open with him. The very prospect of her seeing Nick is something that I think intrigues her as well as what was shown by her facial expressions. But it was nice to see June smiling in the end and something actually going her way for once, even if it doesn't last forever or go as smooth as what's planned. Serena. Serena's arc is one that I'm deeply engrossed in this season. I feel without Fred, the character has really grown as an individual, and the human that she is has now started to come through. The passion that she has for the safety of her child and the want to be with them is clear. When Mrs. Wheeler was in the detention center visiting her, you could sense the frustration, along with at the end when Serena essentially went back to the mansion when she was squeezing her hand in order to not snap at them. This was when they were saying how she was not fit to be a mother. Serena's only way out in this episode was to go and live with them in order to be close to her child, Noah. Serena thought she had an ally in June, but it turned out she didn't. I believe June will look out for Serena, as deep down June is a caring person and knows what it's like to be without a child. She was the person who gave her the very advice to go and live with the Wheelers. so I do feel as though we will see a horrific and brutal plan laid out in order for Serena to escape with her child and live a life of freedom, something Gilead doesn't offer people in her position. Serena is growing on me a lot. Granted, she's done some horrific things in the past, but the love that she has for her child and the yearning to be with them is something that one can only sympathize with. I think she will make it out of the Wheelers, but in order to get out safely, she'll have to make sure there's no way for her to end up back there, just like what we've seen with June. Commander Lawrence, the architect of Gilead. We got to spend more time with Commander Lawrence than usual in this episode, and it was really interesting to see behind the character. His new project is that of New Bethlehem and what he hopes that it will eventually become. A Gilead without the extremity of torture, punishment, and need for maids. We saw the power and fear that he now inflicts on others and the influence that he's had on Nick, as when they spoke about Putnam, a fellow individual changed their mind and apologized profusely in order to not receive any kind of punishment later on. The guilt that Commander Lawrence feels for the pain and suffering that Gilead and the ways of the land have caused people is something that he feels directly responsible for, and we witnessed how much it eats him up inside. This project is his way of undoing the wrongs of the past and building a better future, especially for the people who have escaped Gilead before. Commander Lawrence is one of those characters who it feels as though he does have good intentions, especially considering that he's always been there for June in the past. But I fear there may be a twist coming where his intentions are going to be different to what we thought, or he's going to get taken out by the authorities in Gilead for undermining them. I don't think it's going to end well, but with June now not needing to go back there, and with him hoping she'd be the face of New Bethlehem in order to bring back more people, her absence could be felt and his plan could start to unravel. I thought episode 8 was a good one. It was slightly slower in pace to the previous two, as it needed to be, as for the first time in a while we were thrown back into reality. However, one thing that this episode did was set up what looks like is going to be an incredible final 2 episodes filled with drama. With Serena planning on taking Noah, the authorities storming Gilead and retrieving Hannah, and also Commander Lawrence constructing New Bethlehem. It's going to be exciting for sure, and I can't wait to see what's going to happen. So, there you have it, The Handmaid's Tale Season 5 Episode 8, Ending Explained. If you want to see more videos such as Endings Explained, theories and predictions and character breakdowns, then click on the I button. Or alternatively, you can head over to my channel where you'll find them all. If you'd like to give me a show or movie that you'd like me to review, then head over to my Twitter, @BrainPilot_, and tweet me what show or movie you'd like me to review next. And finally, if you'd like to see what I rate the latest movies that don't quite make the cut to getting a dedicated video, then head over to my Letterboxd profile. It's where I rate the latest releases in real time. What did you think of this episode? Leave a comment down below, and don't forget to subscribe. I'll see you next time.